Hello, Bruce.
Hi, Ellis. How are you?
I've done so many of these that I'm still learning how to record. I'm good. Thank you very much. I'm
Good.
staying as
Good.
positive as I can in lockdown and isolation and limited work. How
Yes,
about you?
very limited. No work at all. The work that I did have lined up all got cancelled. Because I'm actually part of a co-op agency, so I see what work is available. And if you want to do an advert from home with your friends, then you're fine. You can do something like that if you can, get the self-tape done in time. Otherwise, there's nothing, absolutely nothing, and it's really grim. We do have one of our members doing an open-air Henry V, but yeah, that's about it, really. So no actual work, just trying to keep busy at home.
Awesome. I'm now slightly bitter because I applied for that open air Henry V. I didn't get it.
Oh, well. I think there was an advantage because our member has worked with Matthew Parker before. And in fact, I know Matthew quite well as well because I've done quite a bit at the Hope Theatre when he was in charge. So, yeah, we have some connection there.
Well, also, I like to take solace in the fact the only role, because it was mostly young, teenagers, and then someone playing the teacher who was full staff. And so I like to pretend maybe I wasn't old enough.
Yes, I think I was a little too old for full staff, but there we are.
You make a wonderful full staff. Oh, which full staff?
I think in a more traditional version of Henry V, maybe, but I've always fancied doing the Merry Wives of Windsor. So, yeah, that would be fun.
I love that play. I think it is the most underrated Shakespeare play ever. It is a joyous account of three women who love to laugh, and it should be done more. It's hilarious.
No, I do like it, and it is one of the better comedies, definitely. More fun to be had in that.
I mean, that's the thing. Considering the comedies are more complicated and less juicy. Like everyone does Midsummer, everyone does 12th Night.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of issues with a lot of the other ones.
Yes.
But Merry Wives is perfect. I did costume designs for it at university. It's a wonderful play.
Good. Well, I'm glad we're agreed on that.
So my first question is, have you been able to do anything in isolation in terms of the entertainment industry?
Okay, well, fairly early on, I was looking around for something to do. And a friend of mine suggested I have a look at Krapp's last tape. So I'm obviously, I did not know anything about Krapp's last tape, much to my chagrin. So I went away and found a script and read it and so on and thought about it a lot and figured out that I could shoot it with a single shot from the camera. But it's about 40 minutes long, so it's quite a lot to sort of learn and do. And it turned into a bit of a marathon, getting all the props together and figuring out the lighting and so on, where I could shoot it. I ended up taking all the glass out of the windows in my conservatory because otherwise I was just going to get loads of reflection. Shoot it at night. Very sparsely lit, and it worked quite well, I think. So, yeah, the results, unfortunately, cannot be made public because, of course, it's all copyrighted material, and I didn't get permission to do it. So it was a lovely project to do, but it will never see the light of day, except for close friends, I guess I could show them, but that's about it. So, yeah.
Yes, the Beckett estate is very ruthless. I know they've tried to do a production of Waiting for Godot with Ian McKellen and Judi Dench, and they've
Okay.
never been able to do it because the Beckett estate will not allow a woman to play. Oh, Estragon.
Yeah. Yeah. I did see an all-female production of it back in about 1978 in York, but I don't know how they ever got permission to do it because it was a bit of an odd one. Not very good, I have to say.
I would guarantee they did not get permission for it. What about, could you load a clip from it onto your theatre show reel?
I'm expecting to do something of that nature. Yes, when I get a moment, because I'm so busy and rushed off my feet, I just haven't had the time. But apart from that, no, there's been no other sort of professional development, shall we say, during the time. I must try and do something else soon, otherwise I shall rust up completely. Obviously, people aren't doing very much. I know David Sayers seems to be keeping busy with the Illyria Theatre, playing Ratty. So, yeah, it's a bitter pill, and I try not to think about it too much because it just does bring me down.
I actually think that's very sensible in terms of... Oh, ding!
I think that's something on my computer. It's just decided it's got some sort of notification or something.
I see. Yes, no, very sensible to distance yourself from anything that you find stressful or upsetting. I personally very rarely go on Twitter because it seems that everyone's angry about everything, and it's not fun.
No, I must say I'm steering clear of social media as much as I can.
I personally love RuPaul's Drag Race, but the fans are so...
I do.
You love Drag Race?
No, that's my guilty secret. That's my guilty pleasure.
Have you been watching Canada's Drag Race?
No, I haven't watched Canada's Drag Race. No. Is that worth watching?
Yes, it's on the BBC. It's interesting because obviously it isn't RuPaul hosting it. Okay. And obviously Canadian drag is different from American drag and British drag. Yes. And there's a classically trained clown drag queen in it called Jimbo. Hilarious. I swear he trained with Lecoq. He's just wonderful.
Good. Well, mate, that's something that I can add to the list of shows to catch up on, because I did watch the British version of it, but I've been wading through the second series of the Umbrella Academy recently. My daughter was just telling me about all the differences between it and the actual comics, which I've never read. But I thought they'd done a decent job of actually hanging the narrative together on what is a rather complicated storyline, to say the least. And there were some good bits of character development for the various people within the show. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
My husband watches the Umbrella Academy, and so I've watched little bits of it. It's really good, and the actor from Skins, I think, is fantastic. Who plays someone who can hear ghosts?
Yes, indeed. And a part made for him, really, with the guru type sort of thing. Filled that particular role very well.
Agreed. Yes. That's the thing. It's so frustrating that during lockdown, everyone has resorted to watching TV and listening to music and watching film, which is all the entertainment industry, and yet
there's no work for us yet. There's no work for us yet. They're going to run out of stuff soon.
I'm looking forward to reruns of I Love Lucy.
Oh, no! Have you been listening to Radio 4?
No, I'm really rubbish at listening to the radio.
Okay, because at the moment there's a thing about how I Love Lucy got made, and it is sort of narrated by Desi Arnaz, who obviously was quite key in the financial arrangements of setting that up. And the reason that it still exists today is that they had to do it on film, and rather than live as they did in a lot of those sort of comedy things. They did it on film, and they retained the property rights to the film. So they have made their estate has made an absolute fortune on reruns of I Love Lucy. So that's quite interesting.
Yes, Lucille Ball really was a trailblazer in terms of an actor becoming a producer on the project as well and having a lot of say. There's actually a film coming out with Cate Blanchett playing Lucille Ball.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, that could work. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, no, well, I don't know when they're going to finally get that made and released, but it might be worth risking going to the cinema to see that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I know all these filmmakers have so much better opportunities to submit their film to Cannes next year because there's nothing else going.
Well, is Cannes going to happen next year?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know whether it will.
Well, I know Heidi went to Cannes last year because I did an interview with her about that. So that was all lovely.
Okay, but they didn't have it this year, so I don't know what's going to happen next year.
Yeah. And anyway, sorry. Lovely tangent. My final question is, do you have any advice or wisdom to give to anyone in isolation or who's struggling, or actors who are struggling with the lack of work?
No. I have no words of wisdom at all. It's down to survival at the moment. Do anything you can to, pay the bills, because it will come back. But you've got to survive this period, and that's, I think, the biggest difficulty that most of the people within my co-op are having, is just finding something to do that pays the bills. We've got quite a few people working for supermarkets. Of course, there's so little that most of the usual things of waiting tables and being in bars and so on, even that's problematic. So yeah, it's been really hard, but people are finding ways around it and doing stuff and so on. And I just hope that one day we'll all get back and do a proper job of acting again.
Well, I never did a proper job of acting in the first place, so.
We won't go into that now.
I'm remaining, as always, optimistic that everything will be fine and we might be filming by November, because I'm keeping my hair long.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I think this is it. I think, people have to remember that they are actors, despite the fact that we haven't done anything for months. We are still actors. That's what we do. So we will be back. It's just going to be tough for a few months yet, I think.
I think that is very true. And we were mentioning Twitter, and actually one of the only tweets I've done recently was to say that a doctor who is on holiday is still a doctor, and we are still actors.
Yes.
Even if not acting.
Yes. This is true. Even if we are filling shelves at Tesco's, we can do it with great plum, flourish, dramatic.
Oh my God, anyway. Can you imagine me stacking shelves? I'd be like, and in it goes. That'd be terrible. I would probably organise everything via colour, and so just be a rainbow effect.
That would be lovely. Actually, I would love to go into the supermarket and see that on the shelf. That would be great. I was hunting around for porcini mushrooms yesterday. I mean, you'd have thought, how hard can it be? I mean, where would you put porcini mushrooms, dried porcini mushrooms? Where would you put them in a supermarket? And do you know where I found them? Next to all the olive oil.
At the same time, you just have to laugh at the first world problems of, I can't find any porcini mushrooms.
How on earth am I going to make a mushroom risotto without my porcinis? I mean, I've totally run out. I need my porcini mushrooms.
See, that is why you are far more sophisticated than me, because to me, there's just mushrooms. I would never think to get a different kind, with the exception of in the computer game Zelda, there's Zapu mushrooms.
Oh, I don't do computer games. I have no knowledge of computer games.
That's what I've been doing during lockdown. Don't insult it.
Yeah. Nothing new under the sun. Anyway.
Yes.
On that note.
Thank you so much, Bruce, for our lovely interview today.
It's been a pleasure
to see that even with everything that's going on, you have maintained your great sense of humour.
Thank you. It's been great fun.
Perfect. Take care.
Bye.